Look, it's time that we follow through on our intentions. And that's why in this video, I want to talk to us about why our values matter. I know you want to follow through on your intentions. I know that's what you desire to do. That's mostly what you aim to do. But don't you hate breaking promises, saying you're going to do things, not being able to follow through on them, whether that's to yourself or to other people? In fact, some of the most important promises that we keep have to be to ourselves. For years, I tried to get into great physical condition. I wanted to get stronger. I wanted to get fitter. I wanted to eat healthier. I wanted to be more active, but nothing really ever stuck. I was playing fives football one day and then I tore my meniscus in my right knee and it swelled up, my knee swelled up and I could barely walk that day. Went to go get some, checked up at the knee specialist, and he looked me up and he said, okay, cool. I don't need operation, but it's going to take long recovery. And he said that I needed to get my muscles in my legs stronger so that it would take the pressure off my knee and just to build that strength. So he actually gave me a gym routine. Even then, I struggled to stay consistent. I did it for a period of time, but whenever something else would come up, I would actually just go that way. I'd find an excuse to do something else. You know why? The truth is that it just wasn't that important to me. There was always something more important. And so when they came up, I went and I did that other thing. However, in the last 12 months, I've been relentlessly consistent in my training, 5 to 6 days a week. And not only consistent in my training, but also consistent in my eating. I've been eating according to a meal plan. The difference is that it's actually become a value of mine. It's one of the most important things that I do. You see, the thing is this, that we all do what is most important to us. Many of us want to change something. We want to adopt a new behavior. We want to change, but the reality is, the truth that you need to face in the mirror is that it's just not that important to you. There are other things that are more important to you. Distractions, other priorities, because you get the results of what you do on a daily basis. Is it a value or is it not a value? When something is a value to you, you don't need anybody to motivate you. You don't need anybody to excite you. You actually do it because it flows out of who you are. Yes, you got to put structures in place, and yes, you got to find a system and a rhythm that works for you, but you do those things and you put those things in place to guard and protect the value. And I know in this case I'm using, a gym analogy or a health analogy to sort of apply this and implement this into your life. But think about it. Think about across your life. Think about maybe it's your family or it's other relationships or whether it is sleep, okay, another health one. If you value those things, you carve time out for them. And when they're important to you and something else comes along, you go, no, I need to do the thing that's important on whatever level. So you might say that family is important to you, or you might say that the relationship with your spouse is important to you. But if you're always at work and out with friends and doing your own thing and not spending enough time dedicated with, dates or conversations, or actually they're not as important to you as the thing that you choose to do when you're not spending time with them. The bottom line of what I'm saying is this: in order to build the life that you want, you need the values to support that. I love this quote by John C. Maxwell. He says, "By choosing to embrace and practice good values every day, you choose the higher course in life, and your life goes in a direction that you will always feel good about. You may not always have what you desire, but you will always be the person you desire to be." We all have great aspirations of what we want our lives to look like or who we want to be. But the truth, again, just to reiterate it, is that we live from our values on a daily basis. We only act out of our values. We don't act beyond our values. That's why when you want to start a new habit or you want to have this great aspiration, maybe your aspiration is to invest or to save, but you don't actually value it, then you're going to start it and then you're just going to, get distracted by other things. The new shiny iPhone that comes out, for instance, and no knock on it. It could be a new behavior that you're trying to adopt. Maybe you're trying to adopt an early wake up. Maybe reading is something you're trying to adopt, but hey, it's not actually a value of yours. And so you always find it difficult to make time to read because you've got other things that you value. You're valuing entertainment, you're valuing gaming, you're valuing something else. And so the time just doesn't allow it for your calendar. And so you don't have that that importance that you place on it. What has to happen is that learning has to become a value to you. Self-development has to become a value to you, so that what you do is you actually then read in order to become someone who is developing who they are on the inside and becoming bigger on the inside. You're learning and growing, and therefore you are following through on one of your values. And if it's a value, it finds its way into your calendar or into your budget. And sustainability is so important, because we don't want to achieve things at the cost of our own soul. We don't want short-term gains and long-term losses. It's not a sustainable way to build a thriving life. Again, I like this quote from James Clear. He writes, "The process of growth is the process of choosing your values, beliefs, and actions rather than imitating them." Bottom line, strong values allow you to build a strong life. So here are 4 ways that you can build strong values into your life that allow you to follow through with your intentions. You ready? Number 1, write down everything that is most important to you. So what you can do is you can open up any document on your computer or on your phone, or even better yet, write down on a piece of paper or get a journal out and just brainstorm on the page. And think about what is most important to you. Or if that's difficult, think the reverse. What are some things that you don't like? What are some of the things that you don't like about other people? What are things that irritate you? And then don't put their name down. Just write those things out, because then you're taking them off the table. And then think about, okay, what am I now? What do I like about who I am now? What are the things that are important to me? What needs to be true about me to feel like I'm living an integrous life? Just write those things down, get them all out, and write the list as long as you can, or as long as you want. You know, what would you like to be true about you in the future? Write out. You want physical health, emotional health, spiritual health. Maybe it could be that you're kind and and kindness is important to you, or always arriving early. The second thing is narrow down the list. What you want to start doing is eliminating as many of those things off the list as possible. Bring it down to its irreducible minimum. Have as many as you need to have, but have as few as possible. The question is, what is the shortest list of values that you can have without compromising deeply who you are? Yeah, 20 values or 30 values, they sound great. It's amazing to have. But in reality, we can only comprehend 5 to 10. If we want to make it practical and apply it to our life on a daily and weekly basis, we need to have as few as possible that kind of act like dominoes for the rest of our values. So what are those irreducible minimum values that we need to guard and protect? And the question there is, if you stay true to these values, you will be the person who you desire to be. Number 3 is review them weekly. Are you staying on track? Are they helping you? Are you falling short in any way? Do you need to adjust your behavior or adjust your calendar or adjust your budget in the week ahead? How do you know if you are making progress with your values, and how do you know where you're falling short unless you review them weekly? What you need is this list to help you to make decisions about what you say yes to and what you say no to. If any decision causes you to compromise the values that you've got down on your list, you've got to say no, because that's where values are tested. If decisions are in agreement with your values, and it goes to the next phase of decision making and you're good to go. You want to stay in alignment to who you desire to be. And lastly, number 4 is align your activities to your values. You don't want just this nice to have list that you've written at the back of your journal somewhere, with all the nice little coloring in and being like, yeah, this is who I want to be. It's like me when I used to do to-do lists. I'd write a to-do list and I'd lose it. I don't want you to lose your values list. It's got to be something that you review weekly, but also you align your life to those values, which means simply this: it ends up in your calendar and it ends up in your budget. Is your money being spent according to your values? If one of your values is that you want to be a generous person, is there generosity reflected in your budget? If you want to be someone who's looking after their physical health, is exercise and nutrition in your budget? And is it showing up in your calendar? Is your date night in your calendar? Is time with your kids in your calendar? Your work is in your calendar. Your important meetings are in your calendar. So what about outside of work? What about time with friends? Is that in your calendar? What about time for yourself or for walks? Do you get what I'm saying? It's got to get into your calendar. It's got to be there practically. Otherwise, it's just a nice wish list that you have, airy fairy wish list, rather than something that is central to you. It's important to you, because here's the thing: you value your values. And when your values are important to you, you guard them, you protect them, and you align your life to them. And I've got one extra tip for you that you can do if you are a married person, is this: you and your spouse to actually write down and craft your values together. And then once a week, have a discussion around those values. How are you, relating to those values? Is your marriage aligning to the values that you have? And this is a great way for you to stay on the same page, heading in the same direction, so that you're not becoming a statistic, but what you're actually doing is you're having a fruitful and lifelong marriage, because you are on the same page. The same things are important to you. And I know that you can do this. Since my wife and I have been doing this, we have grown intentionally. We've been able to keep to the promises that we've made to ourselves. It's not always convenient, but it's incredibly helpful. And again, just to point us back to that quote from John Maxwell, we feel good about the direction our lives are going. And so can you. If this video has been helpful to you, why don't you watch the next one that YouTube knows that you should watch? And a cheeky little plug here for my online course, Thrive by Design. Check out the link in the description and let me know. See you next time.